Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The hum of the airplane's engines fades as the cabin door opens, and I step into the crisp evening air. I've been on a business trip for 4 days, and though it's been busy, I've kept my mind on the work. But today, a sudden change in plans has me arriving a day earlier than expected. I have a plan to surprise my wife, Elena, a gesture to remind her of the life we've built together. As I drive home, I picture the surprised smile on her face, the way her eyes light up when she's genuinely happy. It's been a while since we've had a moment like that. I pull into the driveway and enter the house, anticipation tingling in my veins. The front door opens with its usual creak, and I set my suitcase down with a soft thud. The house is eerily quiet. I call out, "Elena. I'm home early." There's no reply. I walk through the hallway into the kitchen, where the fluorescent lights hum softly. On the kitchen table, amid the usual clutter, a small business card catches my eye. The logo on it is unfamiliar, a sleek, modern hotel, its name written in elegant script. I pick it up, flipping it over. There's a number and an address. At first, I shrug it off, assuming it's just a random card Elena picked up somewhere. I tuck it into my pocket and continue to look around. As I start to prepare a quick dinner, my mind drifts back to the card. Why would Elena have this? Later that night, as I sit alone in the dimly lit living room, the card re-emerges from my pocket. Curiosity gnaws at me, so I pick up the phone and dial the number printed on the card. "Good evening, Riverside Hotel, how can I assist you?" a calm, professional voice answers. "Hi," I begin, trying to sound casual. "I found this card at my house. Can you tell me if a guest named Elena Johnson stayed there recently?" There's a pause on the other end, and I can almost hear the receptionist typing away. "Let me check our records." Moments later, the receptionist returns, "Yes, Ms. Johnson checked in here last month." "Did she check in with anyone else?" I ask, my heart beginning to race. Another pause. "I'm sorry, but I'm not at liberty to disclose guest details." The response feels like a final blow. "Thank you," I say, and hang up, my hands trembling. Elena had been here, and she wasn't alone. The realization hits me like a cold wave. I sit down, staring blankly at the card. Memories flash through my mind, times when Elena had seemed distant, when she had excuses that never quite added up. Anger rises within me, mingled with a sense of betrayal so deep it's almost palpable. As the night stretches on, my mind races with thoughts of how to confront her, how to make her understand the depth of the hurt she's caused. I imagine her face when she realizes that I know her secret. The thought brings a dark satisfaction. The next morning, I wake up with a single purpose: to execute my revenge. I start by gathering evidence, taking photos of the card, and checking our credit card statements for any hotel charges. I craft a plan, cold and meticulous, to dismantle the life Elena and I had built together. I decide to confront her directly. I call her office and arrange to meet her for lunch, claiming it's about something important. When she arrives, her smile falters slightly at the sight of me, but she quickly masks it with a cheerful greeting. "Hi, love," she says, leaning in to kiss me. I step back, my expression unreadable. "Hi, Elena. I have something to discuss," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Let's sit." We settle into a booth at a quiet restaurant. I slide the hotel card across the table. "Explain this." Her eyes widen, and for a moment, she's speechless. Then, she forces a laugh. "Where did you get that?" "From our kitchen table," I say, my tone icy. "And I called the hotel. You were there last month, not alone. Care to explain?" The color drains from her face as the truth begins to dawn. I didn't mean for you to find out this way," she stammers. "Then how did you mean for me to find out?" I ask, my voice cutting through the clamor of the restaurant. The anger I've been holding back surges forth. "I'm sorry," she says, tears welling up. "It was a mistake. I never wanted to hurt you." The words feel hollow. A mistake? This isn't a mistake, Elena. It's betrayal. The conversation unravels into a painful exchange of accusations and pleas, but my resolve hardens. I've made my decision. Elena's betrayal will not be met with forgiveness but with a calculated response. I leave the restaurant feeling a mix of cold satisfaction and deep sorrow. The plan is set, we'll separate, and I'll ensure her life is as disrupted as mine has been. I'll see to it that the life we once shared is dismantled piece by piece. As I drive home, the weight of the impending confrontation presses heavily on my shoulders. The betrayal has taken its toll, but now, I'm ready to take action. The next chapter of our lives begins with a clean break, but for me, it's just the beginning of a carefully orchestrated revenge. And so, with the resolve of someone who has been deeply wronged, I prepare for the days to come, knowing that Elena will never see this coming. The sun sets over the city, casting long shadows that stretch across my office floor. I sit at my desk, my mind racing through 100 scenarios. Elena's tearful apologies from earlier today still echo in my ears. Her words were full of regret, but they can't undo the betrayal or the plan I've set in motion. I flip through the documents in front of me, my divorce attorney's notes, lists of assets, and a timetable for the dissolution of our life together. The phone rings, jolting me from my thoughts. It's Alex, my best friend and confidant. "Hey," Alex says, his voice filled with concern. "I heard you were back early. Everything okay?" "Not even close," I reply, my tone flat. "Elena's been unfaithful. I found evidence she's been seeing someone else." There's a sharp intake of breath on the other end. "Damn, man. That's rough. What's your plan?" I lean back in my chair, staring at the stacks of papers. "I'm planning to make sure she feels the same hurt she's inflicted on me. I'm meeting with the lawyer tomorrow to finalize everything." "That's heavy," Alex says. "You need any help?" "I might," I say, a dark resolve settling over me. I need to make sure everything is perfect. This isn't just about ending a relationship, it's about making a statement. After the call, I spend the evening drafting a list of everything Elena and I own together. The process is meticulous and emotionally draining, but it's necessary. I want every detail accounted for, every asset scrutinized. I can't afford any mistakes. The next morning, I walk into the lawyer's office with a sense of purpose. The sleek, modern building feels cold and impersonal, a stark contrast to the warmth I once felt in my marriage. The lawyer, Linda, greets me with a professional smile. "Mr. Carter," she says, ushering me into her office. "I've reviewed the documents you sent over. How would you like to proceed?" I sit down, my expression serious. I want this divorce to be as clean and final as possible. Elena needs to understand the consequences of her actions. Linda nods, her pen poised over the notepad. "Understood. We'll start by drafting a petition for divorce, outlining the separation of assets. We'll also address any alimony or spousal support issues." I give her the necessary details, and she starts typing. The conversation shifts to more specific legal matters, but my mind is elsewhere, plotting the next steps. By the afternoon, I'm back home, staring at the pile of documents on my kitchen table. I'm interrupted by a knock on the door. I open it to find Elena standing there, her eyes red from crying. "I need to talk to you," she says, her voice trembling. "I know I messed up, but please, let's work this out." I cross my arms, a steely resolve in my gaze. "We've talked enough. I've made my decision." "Elijah," she pleads, stepping closer. "Please. I was wrong, but I want to make it right. I'll do anything to fix this." It's too late for that, I say coldly. You made your choice, and now you have to live with the consequences. Her face crumples as she struggles to maintain her composure. Please, don't do this. I love you. I made a mistake, but I want us to get through this. I feel a pang of guilt, but it's quickly overshadowed by the anger and betrayal I feel. You broke my trust, Elena. You shattered everything we had. I'm done trying to fix this. I slam the door shut, the finality of the action resonating through the quiet house. As the evening wears on, I review the documents again, ensuring everything is in place. The house feels emptier than ever, the silence amplifying the pain of the past few days. The next day, I'm at the courthouse, filing the divorce papers. The process is methodical, each step taking me further from the life I once knew. As I leave the courthouse, a sense of finality settles over me. I'm interrupted by a text from Alex. How's it going? Need anything else? I type back, just getting started. It's going to be a long road. Later, as I sit alone in the dim light of my living room, the weight of the past few days presses heavily on me. I know that the next steps will be challenging, but I'm prepared to see this through to the end. Elena's betrayal will not go unpunished, and I will make sure that the consequences are clear. With each passing day, the resolve to dismantle the life we once shared grows stronger. The stage is set, and the plot will only thicken from here. The coming chapters of our lives will be filled with legal battles and personal reckoning. As I prepare for what's to come, the only certainty is that Elena will soon understand the depth of the pain she's caused. And so, the story of betrayal and retribution continues, with each action carefully calculated and every decision made with the intent of exacting the justice I feel I deserve. The early morning light filters through the blinds, casting stripes of golden warmth across the living room. I sit at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee cooling beside me, while I review the final details of the divorce proceedings. The documents are spread out before me, each one a testament to the methodical dismantling of the life Elena and I once shared. A sudden knock on the door jolts me from my thoughts. I look at the clock, it's just past 8 a.m. Curious and slightly on edge, I walk to the door and open it. To my surprise, it's Julia, Elena's best friend. Good morning, Elijah, Julia says, her voice steady but her eyes betraying her concern. Can we talk? I gesture for her to come in, though I'm unsure of what to expect. As she steps inside, I notice the hesitation in her movements. She's clearly uncomfortable. Sure, let's talk, I say, leading her to the living room. What's on your mind? We sit down on the couch. Julia fidgets with her hands, avoiding eye contact. I know things are rough right now, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I had no idea Elena was seeing someone else. I raise an eyebrow. You didn't know? She seemed to have kept it pretty secret. Julia nods, her face flushed. She did. She never mentioned anything to me. I'm shocked and upset, honestly. But I want to help if I can. I study her expression, trying to gauge her sincerity. Help? How? She takes a deep breath. I know Elena's been trying to keep things hidden, but there are some details she might not have considered. I could help you get some more information, if you're interested. My curiosity is piqued. What kind of information? Julia hesitates for a moment before speaking. I've seen Elena meeting with someone a few times. I thought it was just work-related at first, but now I realize it might have been more. If you want, I could help you track down more details about this person. I'm taken aback by the offer but recognize it as an opportunity to gain more insight. All right. If you can get any information, it would be helpful. But be careful. We don't want to stir things up unnecessarily. Julia nods. I understand. I'll see what I can find out. As Julia leaves, I feel a glimmer of hope. The possibility of uncovering more about Elena's affair could provide additional leverage, perhaps even push her to settle the divorce on my terms. The day passes in a blur of legal meetings and phone calls. I finalize the details with my attorney, ensuring that the division of assets is fair but favorable to me. As evening falls, I'm preparing dinner when my phone buzzes. It's a text from Julia. "Got some info. Let's meet tomorrow. I'll explain everything then." The anticipation builds as I prepare for the next day. The thought of finally getting concrete details about Elena's affair keeps me awake through the night. The following morning, Julia and I meet at a quiet cafe. She looks more relaxed than she did the previous day, a sign that she's managed to uncover something significant. "I've got some news," she says, sliding into the booth across from me. "Elena's been meeting with a man named Mark. He's someone she's worked with for a while, but I found out he's also a personal friend. They've been spending a lot of time together." I lean forward, my interest piqued. "Do you have any information on where I can find him?" Julia pulls out a small notepad. "I've got his contact details and some addresses. I thought you might want to know more about him, especially since he's the one Elena's been seeing." I take the information, my mind racing with the implications. "Thanks, Julia. This could be useful. I appreciate you helping me out." She smiles, though it's tinged with sadness. "I just hope this helps you find some closure. I know it's been tough." As Julia leaves, I examine the contact details. Mark's name is familiar, but I can't place where I've heard it before. I decide to do some research and make a few calls to see what I can find out about him. The evening is spent tracking down information about Mark. I discover that he's a well-regarded businessman with a reputation for being charming and persuasive. He has a few personal connections in high places, which might explain why Elena was drawn to him. The following morning, I decide to take a more proactive approach. I visit a local private investigator to see if they can help me gather more detailed information on Mark's whereabouts and activities. The investigator, a grizzled man with a no-nonsense attitude, listens carefully as I explain the situation. "Sounds like a mess," he says, leaning back in his chair. "But I can help you dig deeper. Give me a few days, and I'll see what I can find." With the private investigator on the case, I return home, feeling a sense of control and purpose. The plan to dismantle Elena's life and confront her with the full extent of her betrayal is falling into place. The days ahead promise to be tense, filled with legal battles and personal confrontations. I'm prepared for whatever comes next, knowing that the path of retribution I've chosen is both deliberate and unyielding. The stage is set for the next phase of this painful journey, and I'm ready to see it through to the end. The city is wrapped in a veil of twilight as I sit at the kitchen table, my mind a whirl of dark thoughts and cold calculations. The divorce proceedings are nearly complete, but there's one final step I need to take. I've arranged a confrontation that will bring all the pieces together. The private investigator has provided crucial details about Mark's daily routine and where he stays. Armed with this information, I've planned a meeting that will serve as the final act in this bitter drama. I'm determined to expose the full extent of Elena's betrayal and ensure that Mark faces the consequences of his involvement. As I prepare for the evening, I receive a call from Julia. Her voice is frantic. "Elijah, I have something important to tell you. I've learned something that might change everything." "Tell me," I reply, my voice steady despite the growing tension. "It's about Mark. I did some digging and found out he's been using Elena as a pawn in a larger scheme. He's been blackmailing her," Julia reveals, her voice shaking. The revelation is a gut punch. Blackmailing her? Why didn't you tell me sooner? I only found out recently. I didn't know if it would be helpful or just complicate things further, Julia explains. The new information shifts my perspective. If Mark's motives were more than just a personal affair, it could mean Elena was a victim, albeit an unwilling one. The realization doesn't make the betrayal any less painful, but it adds a layer of complexity to the situation. I'm going through with my plan tonight, I say, resolve hardening. But this changes how I'll handle it. The evening arrives, and I make my way to Mark's high-end apartment building. The shadows lengthen as I park and slip through the lobby, my heart pounding with anticipation. I've arranged for Elena to be there as well, under the pretense of discussing a final settlement. Inside Mark's apartment, the atmosphere is tense. Mark, dressed in a sharp suit, is pacing the room, clearly expecting Elena. She arrives shortly after, her expression a mix of determination and fear. I've hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. As Elena and Mark begin their conversation, their voices carry through the room. Mark, I'm here. What's this all about? Elena asks, her tone anxious. Mark's voice is smooth but condescending. I wanted to make sure we're on the same page. Our arrangement needs to be finalized. Elena's voice falters. I'm trying to do what I can, but I'm scared. Elijah knows everything. I step into the light, my presence a stark contrast to the sleek surroundings. Actually, Mark, it's not just Elena who knows. I'm here to end this charade. Mark's face drains of color as he sees me. What are you doing here? You've used Elena as a pawn in your game, I say, my voice cold and controlled. And now it's time for the truth to come out. Before Mark can react, I pull out a flash drive from my pocket and slam it onto the coffee table. I've got evidence of your blackmail and manipulation. It's all here. Mark's eyes widen in panic. You don't know what you're doing. You can't. Oh, but I do, I cut him off. And you're going to regret crossing me. In a swift move, I reveal a recording device hidden in my coat. This is all recorded. I've got your threats and Elena's fears. You're finished. Mark's bravado crumbles as he realizes the gravity of the situation. You wouldn't dare. This will ruin you too. I'm not afraid of ruining you, I retort. You've already destroyed everything I valued. The confrontation escalates. Elena, stunned by the turn of events, looks between Mark and me, tears streaming down her face. Elijah, please. I didn't know. Save it, I interrupt. The damage is done. Mark, desperate, tries to flee but is stopped by the arrival of the police, whom I had discreetly contacted beforehand. They move in, arresting him as he struggles to deny the charges. As Mark is led away in handcuffs, Elena's pleas grow more desperate. Elijah, don't do this. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I was manipulated. I shake my head, feeling the weight of finality settle over me. Elena, the betrayal isn't just about the affair. It's about the lies and the deceit. I can't be with someone who would let themselves be used like that. With Mark gone and Elena's tears falling, I turn to leave. I'm done here. I walk away from the apartment, each step taking me further from the life I once knew. The confrontation has left a trail of destruction, but it has also provided a sense of closure. Elena and I are done, our lives shattered by betrayal and manipulation. As I drive away, I feel a strange mixture of relief and sorrow. The revenge has been exacted, but the pain lingers. The road ahead is uncertain, but it is clear that the chapter of my life with Elena has ended irrevocably. The deception has been revealed, and the retribution has been delivered. The final act of this story is marked by a harsh truth: trust once broken can never be fully repaired, and the consequences of betrayal are often severe and irreversible.